I wonder why everything is so green. Must mean I have more camping gear to make stuff out of. First, let's fix the lighting though. Hello and welcome to Sierra Make. I'm Sierra and today I'm going to show you what to do with your broken screen tint. Let's go! So the pieces that I recovered from the screen tint are the top of it with a panel missing and 3 side pieces. There's so much fabric here, so I'm not actually going to use it all, and I'm going to save the rest of it for some other project. I'm not quite sure what yet, but you know, it's really nice, durable fabric, so there's got to be something I can use it for. As with most of my upcycles, I have to seam rip any of the fabric that I want, but I also got a little lazy and just decided to cut some of it. I mean, I'm not going to use that green edge because it's so thin, so there's no point in me trying to seam rip it if I'm not going to use it. So for the first part of this project, I'm going to be using the net. There's some marks on it that kind of looks like ash, and it's not super clean net because obviously it was outside. And there's a few holes in it, but I'm just going to avoid the holes and also wash the fabric after I'm done with it. So right now I'm just cutting out a rectangle. This is going to end up being a bag, so the size of it is entirely dependent on how big you want the bag to be. And I'm going to sew both the top and bottom sides. For this project, I'm going to be using a zigzag stitch at the recommended length and width, and I also dropped down the tension of the sewing machine down to a 2 instead of a 4 because I didn't want it to pull on the light net fabric that much. Just a little reminder to always test out your stitch on a scrap piece of fabric before you go with stitching the actual piece. Since my test stitch turned out well, I'm just going to start sewing my bag. And here's what the stitch looks like. It looks really secure and strong. Once the sides are sewn, it's time to work on the hem on the top of the bag. I'm going to make it a 1/2 inch thick because I want to put a drawstring through this eventually. Make sure to leave a small inch-long gap so that you can weave the drawstring through. Alright. The first part of this project's almost done. Now it's time to just put the drawstring in. You could use an old shoelace or some twine. It really depends on what you're using this bag for. I decided in the end that I was going to use it as a vegetable bag, so I ended up switching out this shoelace that I'm using here for a lighter weight thin string because you want the bag to be as light as possible when weighing your vegetables at the grocery store. These reusable net bags are a wonderful alternative to the plastic bags that they stick by all of the produce. There we go. There's our vegetable bag. So basically, when you're at the grocery store, instead of grabbing those little plastic bags, you can grab your reusable vegetable bag. Get for your vegetables or fruit. Put it in, and you just slide it closed. There you go. Oh, I like how this looks. So since I made a produce bag with the net material from the tent, I figured I would take the tarp material from the tent and make a reusable shopping bag with it. This material is strong enough to endure the outside, so it should be able to endure any weight that I put in it as a bag. So for the second project, I used 3 strips of this tarp material from the screen tent. Each of these strips is about a yard long, and 2 of them are actually 2 strips sewn together, so it's more like it's 5 yard long strips instead of 3, but Yeah, anyways, on one of these doubled up strips, I'm measuring 14 inches, and I'm going to cut it out, and this is going to be one of the side panels of the bag. By the way, I'm just using my regular office scissors to cut this tarp because I don't want to use my fancy fabric scissors for this material. Now I'm just cutting out another 14-inch side panel, and I will use the rest of this strip to make the handles. Using a second non-doubled up strip, I am going to also cut out a 14-inch piece. Well, two 14-inch pieces, and these will be sewn to the other 14-inch pieces to create the total side panel. Then I will use that last third strip, which is also doubled up, and use that as the belly of the bag. As you can see, I sewed together those side panels. I sewed that folded edge together using a zigzag stitch so that it would look really smooth on the outside. So now I need to attach the side panels to the belly of the bag. So I'm going to start at the top of the bag and sew that one strip. Here you can see it's sewn together with that zigzag stitch, and I left the corner a little bit open so that I can fold the fabric over onto itself, like I'm showing you right here, to create a corner for the bag. Pay attention to which way you fold the corners if you want your bag to look nice and uniform. With the first corner completed, it's time to move on to the next corner. Right, there's our first side of the bag. Woo. Now, sew on the other side. Whoa, look at that. Now that it's starting to really look like a bag, it's time to put a hem on the top of it and some handles. So now I'm just going to grab that extra strip that we'd set aside and separate it into two strips for handles. I decided to make it easy on myself and just take that strip and fold it over and sew it together that way to make the handle, but it ended up actually making a kind of big handle, so I recommend maybe making the handle a little bit smaller, maybe an inch wide instead of what looks like 1.5 inches. Now that the handle is done, I'm just going to sew it to the bag on either side of that strip. When you sew these handles onto the bag, make sure to use an X shape to distribute the tension because these handles will be holding a lot of weight depending on what's inside the bag. Here's a little close-up of the handle stitching I did. It's a little bit ugly, but you know it, it's not about looking pretty, it's about being durable. You can also see how I hemmed the top of the bag with a top stitch and a bottom stitch to really set it in place. So once the second handle is on, our bag is done. Now we just need to flip it inside out, or right side out, with the correct side facing the outside. Yep, that way. And our bag is finished. Woo! Wow, that actually looks way better than I thought it would. And here's the end products. We've got the grocery bag made out of this tarp material, and the produce bag with the net. I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. The grocery bag's like really durable, and I feel like it will, you know, last a really long time and it'll hold a lot of weight. And the produce bags are like, I don't know, they're pretty lightweight and, you know, also really durable. I guess because it's camping equipment, it's all just really durable. And so it should last a while, which, you know, you always want your stuff to last long. They look like they're going to do a really good job holding my groceries. Yeah, if you guys are as happy as I am about these, go ahead and hit the like button. Comment down below if you like this type of upcycled content, and please subscribe because I post new videos every Friday at 3. Thank you for watching. Ta-da! Alternative. I can't speak right now. I don't know what else to say.